Hello my crafty friends. Today I'm going to share with you some cards I've made and some extra projects using Spellbinders April 2023 card kit of the month. First up, I'm taking this patterned floral paper with the pale blue background and I'm going to cover the front of my A2 card base. This is going to be oriented in landscape position. I've cut myself a strip of the blue cardstock included with the kit and I've run it through part of our patchwork embossing folder. And I've popped that up on some foam tape and then attached it to the left hand side of my card. I've pulled out some of the florals from the ephemera and they match nicely back to the patterned paper. So I've got a mix there of the larger ephemera pieces and some of the singular floral pieces, and I'm popping that underneath the edge of that embossed cardstock. Now to do that I made sure I only put the foam tape towards the left hand side and middle, so I was able to then pop things underneath. These single flowers are going to be popped up on some foam tape and then glued over top of the embossed panel. The foam tape was necessary so that we can have the right hand side of the floral level with the raised up embossed panel. So I'm using this die set from scrapbook.com and it says Feel Better, and I've just popped that on some of the blue cardstock that was in our kit, and I'm going to go ahead and decorate with another one of the smaller matching blooms. I'm then using some of the Nuvo glitter drops, and to get nice tiny little spots on my flowers I've placed some of the Nuvo drop out on my craft mat, and I'm using the little tiniest flower shaper tool on my tool-in-one, and I'm just going to go around and dot on that glitter drop. Then I'm going to come in with my unicorn stickles and I'm going to just highlight the edge of that embossed panel, and that just gives a little bit more sparkle and it gives a different texture as well to the card. So I want to then carry on with that unicorn stickles, and I'm going to dot over the centers of my flowers and the little berries, and then that card all finished, ready to go. Card number 2, I'm using this very groovy sunglasses paper and I'm going to cover the front of my card, and then once we've got that nicely attached I'm bringing in some more of the light blue cardstock from the kit, which I've run through part of our embossing folder. That's going to go along the bottom part of our card, and then we're going to attach some of the pretty or cute sunshiny paper, and I'm just going to add some cardstock behind there so that when it overlaps the embossed blue cardstock it'll be level and there won't be any dips in how the cardstock or paper lays. Then I'm taking a piece of light yellow cardstock and it's going to be a base for our sentiment, and to decorate that I'm going to use these really pretty rainbow border pieces, and that's going to be attached to the top and bottom of my rectangular yellow paper. Then I'm going to bring in this cute little sun. Now that sun actually comes from a large rectangular piece that has the S for sunshine, but I've used a round circle punch, or you could use a round die, and I've die cut that sun out so I could use it on this card. I've then die cut out a sentiment, happy birthday, layered that up a couple times so it stands up from the background of the paper. Now I'm going in with some glossy accents to accentuate the eyes. Now for some sparkle I'm bringing in some of these crystals, and they are from Buttons Galore, and that really bright, pretty sunshine yellow. And I'm going to be quite liberal placing them onto my card there. They really help catch the eye. They reinforce some of the circular round shapes that you can see in the patterned paper, as well as that little sun that I've created from the ephemera piece. And then this card will be finished. It's very cute. Number 3 is quite a simple but very effective looking card layout. So I'm starting by preparing some of the patterned paper strips that I'm going to place onto the card. You can see I'm using the green checkered paper, and I've brought in some gold mirror cardstock, and I'm just placing my green patterned paper onto the gold so that there's a thin border. I've also cut out a circle from the gold mirror card, and I'm placing this, what reminds me of a picnic ephemera piece, onto that gold cardstock. For the card itself, I have cut myself a piece of this rainbow text paper, and I'm going to place my patterned pieces at the top and bottom of my card. And once we've got that attached and glued on, I'm going to go ahead and add that circular ephemera piece. Pop that up on some foam tape, but before I attach that to my card, I've got 3 fishtail banner pieces that I've cut out in patterned paper that matches back to the colours of the card, and I've attached that to the foam tape of the circular ephemera piece. Then I can go ahead and glue the whole piece onto my card. I'm using one of our puffy sentiment stickers, the one that says "Just for You," and popping that across the bottom there. Now here's a tip. If you end up with excess glue onto your gold foil or any foiled cardstock, I use an adhesive eraser once the glue is dry, and that will remove any signs of the glue on your card. To finish off the card, I'm using 3 of the heart chipboard stickers from our kit, and I'm placing them in the center of my card on that checkered panel. I'll go over those with some glossy accents to give them a little bit more dimension, as well as that nice shine that glossy accents always gives. I'll then also apply some of the glossy accents to little elements on that circular ephemera piece, just to highlight them and to bring across some of the glossy finish into the rest of the card. For card 4, I'm starting with this bright sunshiny gold coloured paper, and that's going to cover the entire front of our A2 card base. I'll get that nice and lined up, and if there's any excess white card showing, I do go ahead and use my trimmer to trim that off. Sometimes the cards aren't necessarily straight when you receive them. I've got 4 rounded square pieces of the pattern paper with the different types of trees on, and I've attached that to the left side. I've then used Spellbinders dies to cut this hem stitched rectangle in a nice apricot orange colour. I've taken the large ephemera piece with all the oranges on, and I'm popping that up on our foam tape and attaching that to our rectangular base that I've made. I'm also bringing in a set of the oranges, as well as what looks like a glass of something orange and fizzy or an orange juice. The sentiment I'm using is from our puffy stickers and says "Sweet, Lovely and Kind." And just to finish off, I felt like I needed another piece down there near the pair of oranges and the glass of juice. You can see I've added some glossy accents to the flowers and the juice, and then I've gone in with some of our bronzy coloured sequins and added those to give a little bit more sparkle as well. And that will finish off this card. Card 5 I see as being a card that could be given to a teacher as a thank you for the hard work they do looking after our students. And to start this card, I've taken a piece of the blue cardstock and cut it down so it's about 1/8 or 2/8 of an inch smaller than the actual A2 card base. I've then taken the alphabet pictured patterned paper and cut that smaller again than the blue mat. I'm then bringing in a stitched flag die and I'm going to glue that onto the left side of my card and line that up to the top of the blue matted layer. I can then go ahead and lay out all these cute little faces that remind me of possible students in a class and line those up onto my die cut fishtail banner. I'm going to go ahead and attach all of those over top of my banner there, and then I'm bringing in this banner, or sorry, not a banner, like a badge, I guess, and it says simply the best. Now, to add some dimension to that, I've taken the second ephemera piece and just cut out the rosette part of it. I've popped that piece up on some foam tape to give it some dimension, and then I'm going to bring in a sentiment set that was from one of our previous dies of the month. I love using this set as well as 2 others that we've received from past kits. Lovely font on this one. So you can see I've backed the blue, which matches the matted layer for the card, with some gold foil cardstock to match back with the gold writing on the rosette that we have on the left of our card. I'm not going to add any further dimension to the thank you. I think the gold background with the bold blue writing gives enough dimension there. And then to finish off, I've added glossy accents to each of those cute little faces, and then I'm going to fill in the center part of the rosette. And that will finish off our card, other than a little bit of sparkle pen on the tails of the fishtail banners. And that's that one finished. Card number 6, I'm using this lovely fruity orange coloured patterned paper for my background. I'm adding to it the cherry paper that has been cut into a stitched fishtail banner, and then onto that I'm placing our lovely fruit sweetie coloured paper, which is also in a fishtail banner, a bit smaller than the first fishtail banner. To that, I want to bring in some of this pale pink chiffon ribbon, and I'm attaching that to the back of that paper by peeling back some of the release paper of our double-sided tape. I'll add a little glue underneath the ribbon where there's no tape, and then I'm going to go ahead and attach the paper panel to my card front. I'll get that on nice and flat, and because that ribbon's quite thin, you don't need to worry about extra dimension underneath your card there. I'm going to glue the 2 ends together in the middle of the card front, and I'll use my reverse tweezers there to hold the 2 pieces of ribbon in place while the glue has time to set. Over top of that join, I'm going to attach a bow that I've tied out of the chiffon ribbon, and then I'll add some glue and again use those reverse tweezers to hold it in place while the glue dries. I'm going to decorate the front of this card with our chipboard sticker, and it's the frame with the lovely little matching cherries and that really cute sentiment there. And I do like to put glue on the back of these chipboard pieces. I just find that it doesn't always stay attached to the card very well. For a little bit of extra decoration, I'm bringing in some more of those cherries. I've popped up the ends of the cherries with foam tape so that the top part can overlap the frame evenly. I've got my glossy accents there. I'm going to add some sparkle or some shine to that. Take off my tweezers, and then I'll trim back my bow ends to a length that I think is the right length, and sometimes I may need to trim it twice. I don't like to cut too much off the first time because you can never add it back on. And to finish off, I've got these Fireball Dewdrops from Trinity Stamps, and they're this beautiful orange opalescent round gem, and they just really pick up the colours of the pattern papers really nicely as an embellishment for this card. And you can see I'm just going around with my pickup stick and attaching the gems to different places on my center panel there. Once that's all done, my card's finished and ready to go. Card 7, I'm bringing in more of this very cheeky, smiley, happy little sunshine paper, and I'm going to cover the entire front of my A2 card. Then I'm making myself a shaker element. So this is the piece of ephemera that I cut the sunshine out of previously, and I've turned that into the front of my shaker. You can see I've lined it with acetate and foam tape, and then I've filled it up with some sequins from Honeybee Stamps. I didn't like the black sequins in there, so I opened it back up and pulled those out. Now I've got a piece of yellow cardstock which I've used a lawn form stitch scallop die on, and now I'm stamping on a sentiment which says "You brighten my day," and I thought that was the perfect sentiment for this very cute sunshiny paper. So I'm going to attach to my sentiment card, piece of card, 2 thin pieces of black cardstock, and that's going to be the border for my sentiment piece. I will go ahead and add a little bit more black cardstock in the middle of that piece so that it sits nice and flat and evenly on my card front. I can then go ahead and attach the sentiment piece to my card. Then I'm going to come in, and here is that shaker element I've made, and I'm going to attach that to the left hand side of my sentiment on a little bit of an angle. I've got 2 of the clouds that were in our ephemera pack, and I'm just going over the edges of those clouds with a tiny little bit of blue ink that is residual from a card I made previously. So I'm being strategic with where I place my foam tape so that when I glue it onto the card, it can pop up over top of my shaker. And I'll do that for both of those clouds, making sure that where I put the foam tape still allows me to attach that cloud exactly where I want over top of the shaker element. Okay, so they're nicely attached there. I'm bringing in some more of those lovely sunshiny crystals, and I'm going to place a number of those over the shaker element, the clouds, as well as the sentiment panel on my card. And I think they just look so pretty on there, and they really add a lovely bit of sparkle, but not too much of a contrast to the colours of the background paper and the ephemera pieces. And once I get this final one in place, my card will be finished. I think it's a very happy, sunshiny card, sure to brighten anyone's day. Very cute. Card number 8, I'm going to have some inky fun with this card. I'm using pale pink ink to go over top of the edges of a white cardstock panel that I have embossed with a Pink and Main confetti embossing folder. I'm then popping that up on some foam tape, and you can see that that front panel is just slightly smaller than the A2 card base. Now I'm coming in with the ephemera pieces, and I'm going to glue those onto that pretty confetti background. Here I've got that lovely sunshine and rainbow ephemera piece, and that's going to be attached on foam tape overlapping that heart. Then I've brought in quite a few of the little tiny circular heart pieces from our ephemera, and I'm placing those under our cloud and rainbow so that it looks like it's raining down raindrops of love, or just some cuteness there. So I'll add on that final one, and I've tried to alternate is the word I'm trying to say, alternate the colours and the position of those hearts. Then I'm using one of our puffy sentiments to go over top of our cloud, and it says happy birthday. And I'm also bringing in another puffy sentiment to add to the top right corner there. I wanted some more sparkle, so I've got my scrapbook.com sparkle pen and run that over top of my cloud. I've brought in the unicorn glitter stickles to go over each of the hearts on those little circles. I'll add glossy accents to elements of the rainbow, and you can see I'm using multiple different ways to enhance the ephemera pieces that are in our kit. I'm going to add the chipboard heart to the pink gingham heart, and I felt like we needed a little more colour, so I brought in a light blue and went over some of the edges of that embossed panel. I'm going to make some tags with this free die from scrapbook.com, and I had all this leftover coloured cardstock panels as well as pieces of patterned paper, and I thought, well, why don't I make some matching tags to go along with the cards. So you can see here I've cut out the pink cardstock from our kit, some of the leftover sweets and jam patterned paper, and I've also cut out some ring hole protectors from the cardstock. I've cut out a little scallop circle from vellum and taken one of our strawberry ephemera pieces, popped that up on some foam tape, and then add some glue behind the ephemera piece, and I'll lay that on top of the card. I'm going to bring in some more of those dewdrops from Trinity Stamps, and I'll just add a couple of those or 3 of those to the front of my tag and around the ephemera piece. Now a tag needs something to tie it on with, so for this tag I'm using some of the pale pink chiffon ribbon to tie to the top, and I'll add a little bow as well. And on the back I've die cut sentiment saying for you, and there's space on the back of the card to write the name of your recipient as well as the name of the giver. And there you can see that's my first tag finished, and I'll bring in the card that it matches back to. The second tag, I've taken a panel of the bright blue cardstock from the kit, and I've also taken a little piece of lemon yellow and used just the top of the die, tag die, to cut that top piece from. I'm bringing in lots of little pieces of the alphabet and picture pattern paper that I had left over from my card, and I'm going to cover the front of that tag with that. I wanted to have a decorative edge, and you can see there I brought in an edge from Catherine Pooler. I'm going to use the fall off piece from the die to line the join where the yellow cardstock meets the pattern paper, and I've just glued that on there. And then I'm going to use the larger piece with the zigzag die cut border in the center of my tag. You can see I'm just trimming off excess pieces there. Now I'm bringing in those chipboard stickers that we have in our kit, and I'm going to use those to spell out, or shorthand spell out, the word thanks. And to put these onto that blue cardstock, I'm just using where that dashed line is to line up the bottoms of each letter so that they're on the tag nice and straight. I'm bringing in this really thick blue twine to go around the top of my tag. And then to add a little bit of shine and definition, I've got these very thin peel-offs from Love from Lizzie in a gold, and I'm lining the top of the card there, and that helps tie back to that nice gold stripe in those chipboard letters. For the back, it's quite a dark blue, or bright but dark coloured cardstock. I'm adding a little piece of white paper with the message "Thank you" die cut, and then there's room on that white paper to be able to write a message or to and from on there as well. And to finish off, I decided that I would tie a little knot in each of the pieces of twine and then unwind the twine to give like a tassel-y look. And there I'm just trimming off any bits that were longer than the rest. And there's the card to match it back to. Tag number 3, I'm using the really pretty stripy rainbow paper, and I'll place that over top of my die. This is a piece of paper that was left from one of the other cards I've made, and I've just used a scallop die to go along the side there, and then I'm going to use those chipboard sentiments again, and I'm going to put a happy birthday message on the front. So again, using abbreviated like text messaging language, I've got HB to you, and I'm trying to just line those up so they sit evenly. And then I'm going to attach the stamp ephemera piece that has our sunnies on them and matches back nicely to the paper there. And I'm going to bring in 2 of our little circular ephemera pieces that have the rainbows on, and they're just popped up on a little bit of foam tape. I'll add glossy accents to the lenses of our glasses, and then all I need now is some ribbon to attach to our tag. So I've chosen a nice bright sunny yellow ribbon to attach to the card, to the tag. And once I've finished playing with it and trimming the ends, that tag will be ready. Now here's the card that I thought it would go nicely with. So tag number 4, I've got our bright yellow cardstock, and I'm adding on some black trims around the punched hole in our tag, and I'll put those on the front and back. I just like the contrast of the black with the yellow there. I've then, from the scraps of cardstock and paper, die cut a little fishtail banner piece, and I wanted to line that with some of the black cardstock, so I didn't have a piece quite big enough. I've trimmed this cardstock in half and then just separated it in the center so that I could place it onto my card, or onto my tag. I'm going to then place our main ephemera pieces as well as our sentiment there. So I've got this lovely large rainbow and sunshine and cloud ephemera piece, and that's been popped up with plenty of foam tape to keep it nice and firmly attached and level on the tag. I'm going to add some sparkle there with my scrapbook.com sparkle pen. I'll go over some of the rainbow with the glossy accents, and then I'm coming in with a little chipboard piece that says shine, and I'll attach that with some glue to the center of our cloud. I'm going to bring in some more of those Buttons Galore crystals in that pretty sunshine yellow, and I'll place couple of those on my card with plenty of glue. Now to tie this one, I've got two different types of twine here. I've got a yellow and white striped twine and then some plain black, and that just provides that contrast with the yellow and black and ties back nicely to both the tag and the shaker card that I've designed it to go with. And tag 5, I've brought in some cardstock from the scrapbook.com as well as the hem stitch dies from Spellbinders, and I'm placing some of the tree patterned paper on top of that orange peachy coloured tag. I'm putting some more of the ring protectors on, and I'm using some scraps which were the sunshine yellow spotty dotty paper. Putting that on both sides. I'm bringing in more of our orange ephemera pieces. And you can see we've got one of the large oranges and then a couple of smaller oranges, and they're going to be placed on top of that nice hem stitched tree paper. To that, I'm bringing in a third orange, and I'm placing that in the center there, overlapping both of the other ephemera pieces. I'm bringing in a chipboard sentiment, and you can see here they keep falling off, but I'm going to use the one that says sweet. I've added glue, and then that's going to sit over the front of those oranges. Then I'm bringing in glossy accents, and I'm going to go over the entire tag. I was originally going to try and just go over each of the letters, but I decided it was probably going to be too hard to do it neatly and keep the glossy accents only on the letters. To finish off, I'm adding some more of our confetti sequins to the tag, and I think you can probably already guess which card this is going to match back with very nicely. It's got the same elements and same colorings. Here I'm bringing in some dark tealy green twine, and it has a little bit of silver thread with it as well. And here is the card I have matched it back with. Here's a final look at the collection of cards and tags that I've made with this kit so far. I really hope you've enjoyed watching me make the cards and tags today. I know I had fun playing with this kit. I hope that you get the chance to have some fun crafty time too very soon. And until next time, I'll say bye-bye for now and look forward to you joining me again for another crafty video very soon in the future. Have a great day. Until next time, have a crafty good time.